the sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First pride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity in spirit, the heart leads. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zone to go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go, football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. Enthralled and feel, real giant band.
All right, it is that time on a Wednesday night. It is time for the North Central Florida edition of the Blitz here on FloridaHSFootball.com, and it is Happy National Tavern Style Pizza Day. Okay, that is something new I did not know existed. Welcome again to the North Central edition, Florida edition of the Blitz here. I'm Josh Wilson. That's Christopher Like there as we come to you live here, as we do each and every Wednesday night here at the 9 o'clock, top of 9 o'clock hour. And a lot to get to coming up here in just a few minutes here for the interview. We'll have head coach Brian Allen from the Columbia Tigers, who, by the way, just a few weeks ago when a game against Trinity Christian picked up his 100 coaching career win. So we'll talk about that more. And as Coach Allen, who is an alum of Columbia, and by the way, he was a third-round draft pick with the St. Louis Rams back in the day in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So a lot there, and a lot of history there at Columbia High School, and one of the only few programs I can actually say in this state that they have at least achieved over 700 victories in the program history. Columbia very storied, but Columbia this year so far 7-1 on the season, and I've got games against Clay and Bolles left on the regular season schedule here as we start to come to a close here in the final 2 weeks of the regular season for the FHA schools. So let's get into it real quick here. Let's do our Blitz lines here and look back on what was week number 9. Because, again, as we've mentioned here last night, obviously tonight as well, Chris, things were wacky in terms of everything that happened last week. And in terms of week 9, there was just some wackiness. But I feel like maybe some wackiness necessarily didn't happen was in North Central Florida. And Hawthorne took care of business, pitched a shutout on Dunnellon. No issues there for the Hornets, and took care of the Tigers there. Santa Fe, how about this? Santa Fe just dominates Lake Weird. They're 6-2. Santa Fe's been one of the biggest improvers this year so far in this region, and I got to say, I like what Ernest Graham's doing there, rebuilding a program that has had some long struggles over the years.
Yeah, Santa Fe's really been on a roll. It's fun to see them actually do what they've done this year, especially after what they've done, after struggles they've had over the last couple of years. So
Absolutely. Forest takes care of business against Davenport. They're now they were on the verge of in the mix of the playoff rankings. They're sitting there in number 8 in their region in 6A Region 2. John Brantley, what he's done in his alma mater has been fantastic as well. 5 wins, so they're going to finish no less than that 500 on the regular season, and they get the win over Davenport. Newberry, they fought hard and take down Fort White, and you got to be honest. It's really interesting. Newberry is fighting there because they're right now they're on that cusp line, like they're number 8 in their region in Class 2A Region 2. But the problem is you got whoever the district champ's going to come out of 7. That's going to be the problem for Newberry, is that they're going to have to work to get to number 7 seed, because again that team from 2A7 is going to be that number 8 seed, and that's just the way the ball rolls there right this second.
Yeah, Newberry. They when the season started, we were questioning what kind of team, what was wrong with them, and now they're clicking right at the right time. I mean,
sometimes it's a matter of yeah. Sometimes it's not how you start; it's how you finish. But sometimes it's how you start too. But it depends.
Mm-hmm.
Lafayette takes care of business. Rolls Trenton. Trenton now just dropped their 3rd game on the season. Trenton this week is hosting Moorhaven out of the south central part of the Highlands part of the state, out of Glades County this week. And then Zephyr Hills 20-14 over South Sumter, and Zephyr Hills 8-0. South Sumter now it's dropped to their 3rd loss on the season. They now lost 2 straight. But they've got Dunellen this week. Critical game for them in that one, because that could cause some interesting things in the rankings if we're Dunellen to find a way to pull off the upset, in my opinion. But I feel like South Sumter may be a heavier favorite in that game than not. But with that said, it's just, again, there's a lot here in terms of digesting what North Central Florida is obviously involved. Obviously, Buchholz was off this past week. They've got Bartram Trail. They haven't. Buchholz hasn't outright won their district yet. They have to beat Bartram Trail, finish that off. If Bartram Trail somehow pulls off an upset, we're talking some tiebreakers that are going to need to be involved in that situation. But there's that. Williston, they've been rolling. They rolled over GHS this past week, and there's no stopping there with what Robbie Pruitt is doing with there. I'm trying to think who else I'm just at the top of my head here. By the way, this year I didn't mention this one, but Suwannee, they've had a struggle this year, but this is their 100th year of football over there in Live Oak. So Suwannee, I do want to recognize that it's 100 years of football over there for the Suwannee Bulldogs there in Live Oak.
Yeah, long history with Suwannee. We'll see.
Yeah, going back to it's hard to believe in the 1920s. And of course, there's some programs that are older in this state. Obviously, when you go back and start looking at Columbia as one of those programs. Hunter, I know Hunter Williams there. There's Hunter right there. I did see him pop up into the chat, and Hunter is showing me some Columbia history, which is just fantastic. What Columbia has done. Actually, Chris, could you believe this? As we're starting to, we haven't really talked much about this, but we're going to develop this wiki, which is called FHApedia, which is going to start building up, getting all the high school history into one central place. And
behind the scenes, we've been working on it.
Yeah, and I will tell you something. I went through real quick before we go to the break here. I found something, and I came across a score that had apparently not been documented. And it was between Gainesville High and Columbia won this game. And this was it was the 1912 season. I found this score in the most obscure place in a yearbook that had been digitized for GHS in the Gainesville Public Library in the Alachua County Public Library archives. That's the kind of stuff that I dig into, because it's history that needs to be preserved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. Yes, and Emory, you're right. Robbie Pruitt, one of the most accomplished coaches in the state history. But yes, indeed, appreciate that. Yes, Mark Cannon, about the stadium in Live Oak. It is definitely a place to watch. Also, another good place to watch some good football is Tiger Stadium at Lake City at Columbia High School. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Brian Allen, the head coach of the Columbia Tigers here on the North Central Florida edition of the Blitz. We'll be back here in about 2 minutes here.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it, because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, it's a great chance that I can do it. The First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with a free ScoreStream mobile app. Download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Get ready for the 2026 Coach of the Year Clinics. This February and March, see top collegiate coaches, learn from the best, and take your program to the next level. Don't miss America's most respected coaching clinics.
All right. Welcome back here to the North Central Florida edition of the Blitz here on FloridaHSFootball.com. And joining us is the head coach of the Columbia Tigers. That is head coach Brian Allen joining us here. And coach, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule here to talk to us. And boy, your Tigers have been outside of the one game against St. Augustine, which I know y'all would love to have that one back. Yeah, I feel like y'all are a much better team than what y'all had that night at this particular point in the game. But man, just talk about this team that, how y'all have come about, considering I know last year y'all had your struggles in 2024, but this year this team has just been, playing with a lot of fire and a lot of fuel in themselves, and that they have just been, playing basically some really good football here. Talk about this team and what changed from last year to this year for y'all. Oh, coach, hold on 1 second. There we go. Got you now. There we go.
Hey, good to be on with you guys this evening. Definitely been a fun season. I think you have to look back 2 years ago before you even jump into this season and what it has turned out to be. Everybody has expectations, whether you're a first-year coach or you're a 15th or 20th year coach, that this is going to be the year. But it's just like planting seeds. You don't get the plant. You don't get the fruit. You don't get the vegetable. You don't get it right away. You have to nurture it. You have to water it. It has to get sunlight. You have to have a lot of things that are factored in until you finally get in the product that you expect when you put a seed in the ground. And that's what's finally come to fruition this year. Year one was tough. I think a 4-6 season. Last year, tough, a 5-6 season. You're making the playoffs, but early first round exit, not the wins that you want. But I think you have to have those 2 seasons to appreciate where we're at this point. Right now, it's 7-1. A lot of people looked at this season at the beginning. I think there were 3 ESPN 100s that we were playing. What is Allen doing again, scheduling all these guys, man? And I just tell my guys the same thing as we build this beginning in January to be where we are now here in late October, that the things that we do when we start our off season is going to show the fruits of our labor when we get to this point in the year. Want to get our 10% better every week, be the team that you're going to be at the end of October, early November, and get ready to roll into postseason. So, extremely proud of this group, the staff. Again, we're finally getting some of the fruits of our labor in this third year of being back.
No, absolutely. And, you mentioned about the tough scheduling, and I'll just go right into it. I mean, and y'all don't shy away from competition at Columbia. Columbia never has shied away from competition. Obviously, playing Coffee, and against a former coach in the state, Mike Coe's program and Coffee. There's Madison County. There's, defending state champion. There's Trinity Christian. Despite their struggles, there's still a good program under Verlin Dorman. He's St. Augustine, obviously, in the district. I mean, Manatee, just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, and then you got Bolles that's going to wrap up the regular season for y'all. So I mean, when you say why how for you, and tell the team, how do you tell the guys to ignore the noise on the outside when it comes to you scheduling these games, because you know what you're doing, and obviously it's paying dividends so far this year.
Yeah, again, it's just a testament of what we do, and I'm so specific and particular about our off-season training. I'm a big believer in the weight room. When you have kids, receivers, DBs, especially our defense and offensive linemen, but when you're in the 300 club in the bench press, 400 club in the squats, and 300 plus in the clean, you're never going to line up in front of a guy that's bigger than what you can lift. So we create, again, the confidence in the weight room that whoever lines up in front of you, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you. But do they work the same way you do in the off season? Do they train the same way you do? So I feel like on any Friday night, we can obviously be in the game. I say win the ones that you're supposed to convincingly, have a chance in the ones that you're not. And this year we've given ourselves an opportunity in the ones that, again, people say that we weren't supposed to have a chance. We gave ourselves a chance and found a way to win those games. So just a testament of how our kids work, what they believe in. I really, really, really feel good about the fact that our kids feel that they can win any ball game that we play in. Whether it happens or not, they have the confidence going into those games that they can win at the final whistle. So just, again, extremely proud of the group. We still have 20% to get better with right now as we go into our 9th and 10th game, to be 100% of a team we're supposed to be when the first round rolls off.
So a lot of your roster is underclassmen led by Levy Collins, the quarterback. Talk about your roster makeup and the way it progressed over the season, especially with Xavier throwing over 13, almost 1,400 yards this season.
Yeah, and you speak about Xavier. You look back and we talk about those first 2 years and how they weren't at the level that we had gone on for 9 or 10 years straight the first time around. Well, Xavier had to start as a freshman. That's I don't know, it's happened many times in Columbia's history that we had a freshman starting at quarterback, and he had to come in the 5th week, 6th week of that first year, and again as a freshman, have to come in and start for the Columbia Tigers, and he had some success, but again, you're a deer in headlights trying to figure it out. Last year as a sophomore, tears his ACL in the preseason, the Wednesday before we go and play Stark in the preseason classic. Tears his MCL, and he's out for 5 weeks, and his welcome back was St. Augustine week 6, right? So just having him for the first time this year as the general QB1 from week 1, and there's a huge difference when you see it. Had to make a total adjustment to what we do offensively because QB1 is out. I had to take a receiver, put him at quarterback, and we were trying to figure out it as we go. But having him again healthy this year and able to operate our system has been huge. We had some key injuries early on. OTA camp at Lowndes, we lose our starting center, senior, 3-year starter that goes down. Have to take a freshman that has never snapped a football and throw him in at center. And here we are going into game 9 with the freshman center. That again, we haven't been as explosive as I would like us to be offensively, but we've put ourselves in position to win games. Have had to take 3 defensive linemen, move them to offensive linemen to be able to, again, make this thing go offensively. So extremely proud of the group and these kids that, hey, been wanted to be a D lineman their whole career and had to take that sacrifice to make this team better. Our defense and some of the additions we have with what we already have here has played lights out. I don't know. I can't think back to maybe 11 or 12, 13 when I first showed up here. that we had a defense that was even close to what we're doing right now. I think these guys have pitched 4 shutouts and shutouts against good teams, giving up 10 or 11 points a game. And you say that 10 or 11 points a game, that's with a 41 point scoring deal that St. Augustine had in that week 6 game. These guys have been stingy and they played really good. Defense wins championship, offense fills the stands, and we're going to depend and lean on these guys heavy as we continue to embark on this season.
And you say defense wins championships. You're a former linebacker yourself. And, looking at the defensive stats, I think the one thing that really stands out to me is the 36 sacks that y'all collected up as a defensive unit in the 8 games so far. And that goes along with 10 interceptions, obviously, with the secondary and the linebackers. I mean, again, you say defense wins championships. We got the stats to prove it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just, again, I can't say enough about what Coach Martinez has done with that defensive unit, along with those guys that he has around him. Trey Marshall, former Florida State Seminole and NFL guy, Timmy Jernigan joining the ranks, helping us with the D-line, Terrence Harrell being our D-line coach. Just as a whole of what those guys have been able to do, get those kids to play fast. They work their tails off, man. But at the same time, when you're facing that daily as an offense, right, you're forced to get better, whether you're young, whether you're ready or not. You're lining up in front of that week in and week out, from spring going into training camp, going into, again, seeing each other on tough Tuesdays and win Wednesdays, that it's going to force you to get better. The thing that we're trying to do most offensively is give them a good look so that, they're prepared for when we play these explosive offenses, when we play these teams that can match what we have as far as talent-wise and ability-wise, that we're able to go out and, again, play to the level that we've played throughout the course of this year.
No, absolutely, Coach. And as we roll along here, Coach, really quick here as we do this, Coach, you got your 100 coaching career victory a few weeks ago against Trinity Christian. A big accomplishment. Congratulations to you on that. What is it for you as being on the sideline as the head coach of this team that you played for? You wore that purple and gold for your years in your high school career. I mean, how do you tell the kids about when you're standing there, and you're coaching them, telling them about your experiences and what you went through, not just, obviously a high school player, but also then going back, reflecting your time at FSU and then back that your time as, also as a professional football player.
Yeah. And Josh, for me, I'm not really an I guy or me guy. The thing that I do, and you talk about the 100th win, man, none of that's possible without the numerous amount of coaches that have coached with me, man. I've had some amazing staffs that have been with me along the way. They transition out of football largely because of the pay, right? So you go into administrative roles to be able to provide and do more for your family and yourselves. But I've had some tremendous coaches that have been a part of this thing since 2011. I've had some tremendous players that have played for me and this Columbia High football program. So I don't really focus so much on the I or me. What I will say is how I prepared. This game's 95% mental, 5% physical. I believe that when I heard it from the first time from Coach Bowden and all the other greats, that you have to be prepared mentally. So when I speak in reference of me or things like that, it's about your mental preparation. It's about the things that was done, not talking about performances or things that were on the field, but how I prepared mentally. The things that along the way, the great coaches that I had an opportunity to play under, how they motivated. That's the thing that I say when it comes down to the me or the I. It's the preparation. The things when I was in that same locker room that they were in now, or that they are in now as a junior or senior, and I can say how I used to go in the shower after we came off the field, pregame warm up, and I got myself emotionally ready I was in tears before I was ready to play, thinking about my grandfather that passed as a 9th grader, my brother that was gone. That those were the things that I mentally got myself prepared to play a football game on a Friday, and I didn't remember the game at the conclusion of it because I was so, again, mentally prepared and focused on the job at hand that I want them. And this is a different era with the kids, man. They want the headphones, they want the music blasting, and that's the thing that's getting them hype and ready for games. And I'm again, as I tell them, you have to be emotional in these football games. You have to be mentally prepared to go out and play. And I'm still old school at the same time, having to transition into some of this new school stuff. But everybody in the locker room doesn't want the radio or the stereo blasting to be able to get focused. You have to have others in consideration. So that's more of my conversation to the group week in and week out. When it comes to I or the me, definitely reflect about being able to play in the jungle and at Tiger Stadium, man. But the majority of the time, it's just always trying to again be that leader that's getting them mentally prepared week in and week out. I know we're physically the group we need to be, but being able to be mentally prepared and smart football players that can go out and play fast and physical.
No, absolutely.
So you had that game against St. Augustine. What they all say that you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. What did you learn about your team in that loss to propel the team through Manatee and Richfield over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I can tell you this, and first and foremost, Brian Braddock does an unbelievable job with St. Augustine Yellow Jackets, man. And I can't say enough about him and what he does with that program. Now, obviously, they have some pretty daggum good players as well, but Brian does a very good job, and he has since he's been there. That he was prepared for what he had seen on tape. He was prepared for the things that he wanted to come out and do and execute. We knew coming into that contest that St. Augustine gave up a bunch of points to a bunch of different teams, right? We had 5 red zone, and I say red zone, that's 20 and in. We had probably 4 of them that we were on the 5+5 and didn't get in. All right, so in a 40-21 ball game, there were 5 opportunities that we walked away with 0 points. If you just score in those opportunities and our defense plays their worst game of the year, it's a little bit of a different outcome. Wingo is an unbelievable football player, right? Had some amazing plays that Friday night. They were able to hit us with some things that they've obviously, again, scouted us and were able to go attack. Hurry up offense, caught a good defense where they aren't having plays called or making adjustments. They watched things that we had done. And again, very smart group. They attacked them and were able to jump out. Again, we have to be better when we're 20 and in of putting points on the board. Had field goals blocked, had botched snaps on field goals down there that you can't walk away with 0 points when you're in that position to be able to score, especially against an explosive offense that they have. So you're absolutely right. You learn something, and you hope the next time around that you get that opportunity to see them, you're much better than you were the first time.
Absolutely, and it would behoove me to point out that there's the Columbia helmet sitting right there on the shelf right above me. So I've got that Columbia helmet sitting right up there on the display case there. So, but Coach, real quick as we wrap this up here, obviously Ridgeview this week here. Clay this week. Clay,
yeah.
sorry. We had Braddock on the last show that we just had, so I'm sitting here going through the district here. We're featuring y'all's district this week on games, but y'all got obviously I get Clay this week, and then next week is Bolles, and Bolles will be a big test to see where y'all are at a bit before that open bye week comes, and then you get ready for the playoffs. So I mean, what do you kind of obviously Clay's had their struggles this year, but Bolles is going to be a juggernaut, especially when you got with the running back that they got over there with Xander over there. He's pretty good. Yeah, how do y'all work on? Are y'all preparing the game plan now just to know how to figure out how to stop him?
Yeah, and Josh, it's simple, man. And if you believe in and you preach the same philosophy week in and week out, nothing changes. Again, Clay is the biggest game of the season because it's the next game of the season. Must handle business with this one. Friday night is homecoming at Columbia. Kids got to stay focused. They got to understand that homecoming isn't a success unless the football team wins the game at the end of the night. So a whole bunch of conversation about that every day, beginning last week in the bye week, that homecoming isn't a success unless the football team goes out and wins the football game. So the goal is simple. They're the best team because they're the next team. We got to go get our 10% better Friday night so that we're 90% of the team that we're supposed to be as we face the week 10 opponent or the week 11 opponent, game 10, that as we finish that game against Bolles, we're 100% of the team that we need to be. So it's simple. They're the best because they're the next. When we get through this one Friday night, Bolles is the best because they're the next. It'll be a challenge for our guys again, especially defensively, with a tremendous sophomore that they have in the backfield. That we have to stop that train before it gets rolling, right? And I think
Yeah, I love it. I love this. Get 10% better.
yeah, we have to stop that train before it gets rolling. Against a tremendous test for us. Our defense has been extremely stingy in the run game this season, so it will be absolutely a challenge for our guys, but a very good challenge. And here's the thing about these crazies that I have, man. I love them to death. Those guys that are on defense. Well, there's a challenge that's out there. You can believe that they're hungry and eager to step up to that challenge. Those guys on defense are bred a little bit different, man. And this group that I have definitely fits in line with that. So it'll be an exciting game, an opportunity for our guys. Bolles is another opponent that's given up points this season to a bunch of different opponents. We have to focus offensively on making sure that, again, when you cross the 20-yard line, it has to be points, whether it's 6 or whether it's 3. We have to have points as we prepare to get ready for the playoffs. But we're going to have a week off after week 11. That as it's going to be a physical game, we have a week to be able to get healed, rested up as we get ready to find out that same week who our opponent will be, whether it'll be at Columbia or whether we're traveling again this year in round 1. But we're going to focus on this Clay group as they roll into Columbia Friday night for homecoming.
Absolutely. And Coach, definitely appreciate taking some time out of your busy schedule, and best of luck this week to the Tigers at homecoming against Clay. And we'll looking forward to seeing what, as we will all find out come in about 2 weeks from tomorrow, who's playing who in the playoffs.
Absolutely, Josh. We appreciate you guys having me on.
Appreciate it, Coach. Take care.
Take care.
All right. That was Head Coach. Going wrong one right there. Just moving that one down. Okay, there we go. All right, Head Coach Brian Allen joining us here from Columbia High School. Definitely appreciate him. And the Tigers, again, I mean, he's back. This is his 3rd year in his 2nd stint. He had a decade leading the Tigers. He had a decade, 10 years, leading the Tigers before that, but over 100 coaching career victories now. All as the head coach of the Columbia Tigers in 2 different stints, and definitely loving that. Chris, we're gonna short on time, so I think we're just gonna roll right into that pick 6 here. I think. Yeah. Good stuff from Coach Allen for sure, and
yeah.
By the way, he was a 3rd round pick, 83rd overall by the St. Louis Rams in 2001. And then they put him up on the expansion draft when Houston came back into the league with a team, and he was in that 1st round 18th pick overall to Houston, basically. I remember when that happened, teams putting up guys for the expansion draft.
Yeah, and I'm a Texans fan through and through, and it's a pleasure talking to him too.
Yeah. So. But anyways, let's go ahead and roll into it with our pick 6 for week number 10 here. Let me go ahead and get that graphic up here for us here. If it'll, sometimes I don't know why I put this first. There we go. All right. Oop, there we go. All right. Okay. First up on the docket here for week 10 is Moorhaven 4-4, Trenton 5-3. Trenton is a 22-point favorite. I think Trenton has a chance of breaking that losing streak of 3 games and getting back on the winning side of things and getting above 500 for the season. How are you feeling, Chris, in a rapid fire here?
Yeah, I like Trenton in this game in a big way.
All right. Well, I'm going to roll with the Tigers here. I feel like Trenton, and this is a long-haul drive for Moorhaven to get up to North Central Florida, and we'll take Trenton as Chad is going with Trenton so far as well on this one. All right, up next is Fort White at Hamilton County. Hamilton County, Fabian Reed, very impressive. I know the schedule may not necessarily be the strongest, but to see the Trojans get back on the winning side of things, at least they're going to finish at 500. The only problem is that Hamilton County is nowhere in the top 16 in terms of the championship bracket, but here's a chance for them if they can get a win here against Fort White, which the computer's projecting a 13-point in favor of the Trojans. this could be the game that boosts Hamilton County into potentially being in that championship bracket before it's all said and done, Chris.
Yeah, I like Hamilton County's chances here. I think this game will actually propel them into that bracket. So we'll see.
Well, I know that here's the thing. They struggled against Newberry. They were forecasted to beat Newberry last week, and they struggled.
Yeah.
I see the chats going 4 wide. I think they have no confidence in Hamilton. But you know what? This one, part of me wants to go against the computer here. But I'm seeing, you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going Fort White on this one. We'll see. We'll see.
All
right.
My pick.
Anyways, Dunnell and South Sumter. This could be a trap game for South Sumter here. They really need a win here. They've dropped 2 straight here. This is against Dunnell. Dunnell needs a win here to stave off. To basically, here's the thing: to stave off any chances of at least finishing the season at 4-6, because this will be the final game. If they lose this one, this will be it. They have their. The thing is that they're sitting at number 8 in the region in 3A Region 2. The problem is, again, same situation like Newberry's facing over in 2A Region 2. This is the same situation for Dunnell over here, where is the team from District 7 in Class 3A. They're going to be that number 8 seed. It'd be Wikiwachi or Hernando at this point. That said, South Sumter, 31-point favorite. I don't think I disagree with the computer here.
I don't disagree with it either. I think South Sumter is going to break some hearts over there. So give me South Sumter.
I'm going South Sumter as well. I think it's Dunnell season comes to a close after this game this week, and I just don't think the chance of playoffs is going there. But Mark Cannon's going Dunnell. Everybody else is going South Sumter here in the picks here. All right, our 5th game here. Williston 7-1, Newberry 4-4. Williston 44-point favorite over Newberry, 100% win probability. Chris,
yeah, I don't see this being much of a matchup, unless Newberry surprising just what they have the potential to do. But give me Williston big time.
Yeah, I'm going Williston as well, and I'm sorry, Reno. Your pick doesn't count. I know you pick Newberry every week, every time Newberry's on the picks, but we have to. Sorry, Reno. This is I'll tell you this. This is a game that Newberry has to win. Can they get it? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. But if they come out and win this one, that will help them go further in trying to potentially push Astronaut out of that number 7 spot. But a loss here probably could end up could dash the hopes of Newberry real quick, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. Battle for the Yale helmet here. Lafayette and Bradford. Lafayette 7-1, Bradford 6-2. These two teams are not very far apart, only divided by the Suwannee River. And Lafayette is an 8-point favorite over the Buccaneers, giving the Hornets a 77% chance of winning this game. Where are we going, Chris, on this one?
I like Lafayette in this game, even though Bradford this could be a close game, but Lafayette they're a much better team right now.
You know, I like Lafayette. I like what they're doing. Give me the boys from Mayo on this one. But if Bradford wins this one, this would go a huge way for them. I think Bradford will make the championship bracket here this year without issue. Lafayette's only lost is to Chiefland, so that tells you everything you need to know. I'm going Lafayette. I think Lafayette wins this one, wins the rivalry game. No issue there. All right, last but not least, we've got Santa Fe, Bradford. Bradford's a 20-point favorite over the visiting Raiders. Win probability 95% for the Tornadoes. Here's the thing, Chris, on this one. Santa Fe wins. Santa Fe somehow finds a pulls an upset, and we're looking at a 3-way tie between Santa Fe, Bradford, and Newberry in that district.
Yeah, interesting scenario here. I like Bradford but they're playing with Bradford playing at home, so give me Bradford.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to win at David Hurst Stadium there in Stark, and Bradford. I got to roll with the Tornadoes on this one. Sorry, Santa Fe. I love what Santa Fe's done. Santa Fe has a chance of going at 7-3. I think the season, which is a drastic improvement compared to where they've been at the last few years. So With that said, that is our pick 6 for week number 10 here on the North Central Florida edition of the Blitz here. And any final thoughts, Chris, as we start to wrap this thing up here?
Yeah, I love that interview with Coach there and with Coach Allen, and we'll see how Columbia does in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see a Columbia versus Bradford matchup in the regular season. We'll see what happens here with the classification stuff that's coming up here. Again, there's a lot that's coming, and we'll have to see what's going to happen here. But anyways, that is it for this edition of the North Central Florida edition of the Blitz. We'll be back here in just a few minutes here for the for the Panhandle edition of the Blitz to wrap it up for week number 10. We'll be back here in just a few minutes here on FloorHSFootball.com and our social media handles.